everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the Toyota Sequoia TRD PRO. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Brent Brown Toyota here in Orem for giving me some time with this Sequoia. I'll include a link to their website in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. I'll also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a twin-turbo 3.4-liter V6 that's paired to a hybrid system and a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 19 around town and then 22 on the highway, with power outputs being 437 horsepower and then 583 pound-feet of torque. Before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the hood, you guys can see this is finished in the new mud bath color, which is actually really cool. It's kind of like this very earthy brown. It's like a lighter brown, of course, so more of a gray hue to it, I would say. Anyways, TRD PRO here on either side. And then, of course, being a loaded up Sequoia, you've got the cool sequential turn signal indicator. We've got marker lights because it's wide enough to necessitate them. We also have the TRD light bar there. And then you can see we've got a much more reasonably sized grille compared to the Tundra truck. Fog lights here at the bottom. And for those of you wondering, we do actually have skid plate protection underneath. It's kind of hard to see. It's like way under there. But we don't have recovery points, interestingly enough. But yeah, the front end of this, I think it looks pretty sharp. Now around the side here, our turning wheel set up as 285 by 65 by 18 in the front and over in the rear. And you can see here with the wheels, BBS forged wheels, part of the TRD PRO package, which I think they look really good. And these are pretty solid all-terrain tires. Now, you guys can see kind of some of the components underneath. We do have TRD tuned shocks and suspension. Fox is the brand for these shocks. And then we have another marker light here, which is kind of cool with all the marker lights. And they say TRD, by the way, in the marker light itself. And then you got the camo print on the fender flares. You got the nice fixed side steps there as well. And then we got the matte finish on the mirror caps. The door handles, though, are body painted. And then the rear suspension, it's still a little bit easier to see the shock there in the back. So you guys can kind of get an idea of that. Then if we take a few steps back, this is where you can see the side profile, which I think looks really cool, especially with the roof rack that they have up top. I think that adds to the off-roader aesthetic here with the Sequoia. Something to note, you are going to get a little bit of wind buffeting with that. Now, taking a look at the key fob, pretty standard Toyota key fob, nothing crazy with it, but it does open up the rear hatch, which, we can see the whole storage shelf system back here. So, first off, you can pull this up and out. This is the shelf itself. We also have a little outlet. The shelf has different areas where it can lay depending on where you want things to lay across. Do you want it to lay, for this or up a little bit higher? So they do give you some utility because of this stacked setup. And then these seats do have handles, so you can pull them backwards too to kind of create more of a shelf-like situation here. Anyways, it is hard touch here in the back, but notice you do have the recline function with the seat. We also have a USB down below with some extra storage. We have sunshades here for the rear passengers as well. Now, as for the third row itself, because of the solid rear axle and the battery pack that is underneath, it pushes that third row up quite a bit. That's why we have this shelf situation. So I would reserve it for kids because the floor is higher, so your knees kind of get pushed higher and everything, and then also headroom's more limited. And yeah, that's the price you pay for having this bad boy. Oh, you can't see past the spare tire, but trust me, there's a solid rear axle there. Anywho, so press that, and that'll lower the hatch down. And I feel like that's a different look with the badge, the iForce Max badge. Yeah, it looks a little bit different. If we press this button here, this will press a little bit harder. This will open up the window, so you do have glass that opens, which is another nice feature. Giant Sequoia badge there. You got the double exhaust tips at the bottom. And let me know what you guys think about this new mud bath color. I kind of like the Terra that was last year's color a little bit more, but I do like this mud bath. The Terra is obviously brown as well, but that has more of like a red tint, whereas this, like I said, is more of a gray tint. And this leads us inside. So we've got a little sunshade here for the rear passengers. Really nice stitching and trim throughout with the TRD PRO package. And then the seats have the factory covering on them, but if we move the little box here, you can kind of see the camo print here. Here's a better look. So you got that camo design on the seat, still have the red stitching. The second row definitely has more space. And you can see what I'm talking about. Look at the floor here versus you can see the floor starts up a lot higher in the third row. Anyways, you got the cup holders here in the back, some nice soft touch trim, and then you can see with the climate controls here for the rear as well. Got a bunch of outlets in the back on top of that. And then we do have some vents throughout up top to help out with getting airflow. So really good from a vent perspective. And this is what I'm talking about. You can see here the little driveline hump and everything in the center, how that's raised up. That gives you a better idea of that whole setup. Anyways, that's all. And this leads us up front. So again, we've got more of that nice soft touch trim with the stitching throughout. All of our window controls here. Mirror adjustments. Mirrors do power fold in. We also have our memory seat functionality. Blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. And then you can see here at the payload 1325. And again, the front seat still has the factory wrapping as well, but it says TRD Pro there. You can see with the camo print down below. All of our adjustments here on the side. Pedals right there. And then you've got your heated steering wheel button here. That's for the TRD light bar there off to the side and the gas cap release and everything. Nice trim here on the dash. Quickly pop in. And the door, nice and solid. Look at that, boom. Full digital gauge cluster with this as well. Now take a look at the steering wheel. You can see we've got the marker there at the top and then perforated trim on either side, TRD there at the bottom. Bunch of practical controls here in the front, including for our adaptive cruise control and our lane departure, volume and voice command controls as well. And then turn signal light stock. We also have the windshield wiper stock on top of that. And then, like I said, full digital gauge cluster, which we can use to see different bits of info on systems within the vehicle, depending on what you want or need to see. That is for the hybrid, that is for the turbo, so it's cool that you've got iForce and then Max in two different ways. Anyways, your on-road drive modes will pop up here as well as the multi-terrain select, but we're just in the regular drive mode because we're in two-wheel drive. This does also come with a nice 360 camera system, which is great. I mean, this is a full-size SUV, again, similar in size to a Chevy Tahoe, so having this good camera system really helps out. And then as for the infotainment system, quick response time with all the different functions. And this is a big screen, by the way. I mean, I don't know if you can see, it takes up a large section of the dash. Down below the screen, we've got a little volume control, dual zone climate controls. We have heated and ventilated seats with this as well, a little USB off to the side. Your trailer backup, that's for the camera, just to pop it on. Stability control, hazard lights, rear locking differential, and then your little brake setup. And then here's the shifter for the 10-speed, and then still just a traditional 2-speed transfer case, but we do have regular drive mode. That's for your tow haul. That's your crawl control / hill descent control, so it's kind of like an off-road cruise control. It's a good way to look at it. And then your multi-terrain select is your off-road drive modes. And then got some couple other stuff. Still have this cool setup here at the center console, which it's definitely solid for storage. Got some USB ports and everything inside, so I think that's a big plus overall. And then nice trim here on the dash, Toyota there on the dash too. Look at that, that's pretty neat, if you ask me. And then we do have a pretty sizable glove box. And then camera rear view mirror, so another nice feature there. And then this is just the controls up top for the panoramic sunroof. So it's got all the luxury features. Actually, I want to see quickly how much the rack blocks. So not this front part at all. So just the back part of the sunroof that you can see the rack kind of goes over a little bit. It's not bad though. So you don't really lose any of the important part of the sunroof in terms of being able to have the open top action. So here's a quick look at the window sticker for this 2025 Sequoia TRD Pro. You guys can see all the standard equipment that comes with this. And then base MSRP, we do have just a couple options, so interesting. That's probably the least expensive sunroof I've ever seen. $500 for the option. $82,950 is the total MSRP on this after all options. And that's going to sum things up with the review on this particular one. I did live with one of these for a week, so when it comes to driving, it is very truck-like, just like the Tundra. Again, this is basically a Tundra SUV. And so if you wanted, and this is what I see the TRD Pro Sequoia as, if you wanted to have a big 3-row Toyota that's just a little bit more spacious compared to a 200 series Land Cruiser, because this is like over 200 inches in length, whereas the Land Cruiser is in the 190s, then that's what the Sequoia is. Look at this as kind of like a longer wheelbase, full-size Land Cruiser, because again, the TRD Pro is the off-road version. So that's kind of one way that you could look at the new Sequoia TRD Pro. Let me know if you agree or disagree with that. But anyways, there it is.